Hello everyone, this is Voices of Chaos, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. With Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns coming very soon, I decided to take one last look back at Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 and list off my top 15 favorite characters. Normally I would do this in a Tumblr post with a long, lengthy writing that nobody would want to read, so I figured instead let's try a video post and see how that works. Of course, my inspiration for doing this is the YouTube channel Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, ran by Dylan. Did the very same thing. They did a top 10 favorite characters, top 10 duels, top 10 disappointments, top 10 unanswered questions, all from Arc 5. I thought that series was really good and really interesting, so I figured that I should try my own hand and do it and kind of just pay tribute to that series of videos. I recently left a angry YouTube comment on one of his most recent videos, and somebody was like, "Oh, Voices of Chaos hates Dylan." No, that is not the case. I do not hate Dylan one bit. I think he's really cool, and this video right here is proof that I am paying tribute to him, so please go check out Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything and check out his videos because he does some good stuff. But I'm going to jump right into this list because I made top 15 because Arc 5 has a lot of characters, and I'll be honest, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! And I love its characters, but there's certain series where I think a top 5 list might be hard for me to come up with, just because past 3 or 4, I kind of stopped caring about the rest. But Arc 5 has so many characters that I found the top 10 was just not enough. There's just a few characters left off the list, and I really wanted them to get some credit, so we went top 15. This list will not include any cameo characters, because Crow and Jack Atlas would be towards the top of the list, and that would be influenced by their 5Ds counterparts, and there's no way to separate that, really. So, this is Arc 5 only characters. Let's jump right in. Number 15. I put someone here that I don't think anybody is putting in their top 15 favorite Arc 5 characters. This is a character that is very not liked by the fandom at all, very hated quite a bit, but it is Shinji Weber. Yes, the person from Synchro Dimension who was Crow's best friend, who was all like, "Screw the rich tops, commons need to rise up and rebel." People hated him. They thought he was stupid. Gene Michael Roger, who I'm sure I'm saying his name really wrong, but that just rolls off the tongue better. His really dumb plan to make it seem like Yuya was part of his side, worked way too well on Shinji, and everyone was like, "Shinji, you idiot, you should realize that Yuya is not working for the tops." But I thought Shinji was a really cool character. Some people described him as kind of like a Yusei with more of a attitude, evil edge to him. So, and I think he was a good representation of showing kind of the bad side of the commons, the anger that they have, because most of Synchro Arc was all rich people are evil and poor people are good, so it's nice to get a little duality there and kind of see the poor people can kind of riot and go out of control too. He would have been higher on the list if they actually made his B-Force cards, because I think the B cards are really cool. I should mention real quick before I get into the list, the card game will heavily affect this list, which will probably make it different from a lot of other people's lists. The anime and the card game, they're two sides of the same coin to me. They are inseparable. So things that happen in the card game will affect characters' rankings on this list. It's just the way it's going to be. And if Shinji Weber had his monsters made into real cards, he might have been a bit higher on the list, because I think that the B archetype cards he has that synchros and do burn damage are really cool looking and was a neat design, and I liked his B-Force to Crow's Black Feathers, so that was really cool. My favorite scene with Shinji is towards the end of the Synchro Arc when they're rioting, and Crow pops up with his awesome music, being a badass, and he tries to stop them, and then Shinji and his two loser friends challenge Crow to a 3-on-1 duel, and Crow's just "Are you kidding me? I have a meta deck. I'm gonna beat you all in a few seconds flat with your shitty decks." So that was awesome. I love that Shinji was kind of did that fight, and I just think he was a good character for the comics, despite how everyone hates him. But moving on. Number 14. This is a character I actually had at the 11th spot at first, and then I realized I'm just going to complain about them so much. I probably have more bad things to say about them than good things, so I bumped them down to 14. That character is Yuri. Yes, the fusion counterpart to Yuya. I man, I have a like-hate relationship with him. Like, I really wanted to like him. I think he had a lot of really good potential, and I just feel they did not capitalize on that potential. But I'll start with the good. Predator plants, I think, are really cool. I really like plant archetypes. I really like that. I really like that the archetype uses counters. I feel kind of bad because I feel when the cards first came out, they're like, yeah, use counters, put them on your opponent's monsters, like weaken them, and then do cool stuff with that counters. And then they realized no one's going to play with that because it's way too slow for this meta, that it's just not effective. So they're like, okay, instead just fuse with your opponent's monsters because that's what you really want to do. You don't want to like do this slow controlling kind of archetype. But I think that Predator plants had a lot of potential. I think they look really cool. I love the designs of them. They're just really awesome looking. The problem, Yuri barely plays them. They're such a background archetype. And he never fuses anything besides Starving Venom Fusion Dragon and its evolved form Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon. Which I will say that Starving Venom is my favorite of the Dimensional Dragons. I just think it looks the coolest. Its effect is stupidly overpowered, but I think that's really cool, and it just is an awesome, scary design. So it is my favorite Dimensional Dragon, but well, first off, I hate that they hyped it up so much. I hate it during when Yuri was chasing Yuzu that we got the purple Kaiser Dragon variant because they didn't have the design yet for Starving Venom. That was stupid that they couldn't just come up with a design. And then, okay, so we don't get the effect there. Then he faces Yugioh later. We don't get the effect, but he fuses two monsters from his hand to summon it, which contradicts the later effect. They basically hyped up this dragon for over a year and couldn't figure out what it looked like or what its effect was. What were they doing that they couldn't decide on his effect or its look, that they couldn't just finish the Dimensional Dragon series? They knew that they were doing it. They broke the synergy with them all having 2,800 and the non-Xyz ones being level 7. So, like, Starving Venom broke a lot of that symmetry between the rest of them, but he still just looks cool, so I like it. What I don't like is that Yuri did not ever fusion summon anything besides that. Obviously, Yuya has his, well, Yuya does all kinds of shit. We can't even count on him. But, Yugo does a lot of synchro summoning for Speedroid synchros, for the high Speedroids. He does a lot, he summons Clearwing, Synchro Dragon a shit ton. But there's several different Speedroid synchros, and you see that Speedroids are super popular in the real card game because they have a whole bunch of synchro boss monsters. They have like a level 5, a level 6, I think maybe a level 4. I think the level 4 sucks though. But they have like a really cool level 5 and a really cool level 6. So that's awesome. Yuto, who is dead most of the frickin' series, even he summons Break Sword later, and I believe a rank 2 later. I totally forgot about that, but I think he summoned a rank 2 Phantom Knight, and he definitely summoned Break Sword. So, like, even Yuto summoned extra deck monsters of his archetype. Yuri never summons a Predator Plant Fusion monster. He does in the manga, and then because they knew that they let us down, they released one for the card game only, like a dragon-like looking one. But no, it's always just Starving Venom, Fusion Dragon, that's it. And that was really disappointing that it didn't do more with his cool kind of archetype and cool cards. And that barely touches on just how they really overhyped Yuri a lot. I wish that they did more with him early on. And I think they had, like, one flashback where they showed how, like, tragic and sad his childhood was, but I don't remember it, sadly. It was so forgettable. I think it was just, like, a few minutes of, like, one episode, and it's like no one liked him when he was a kid, so he became mean. I mean, maybe some hardcore fans can correct me and tell me all about the deep, tragic backstory that Yuri had, but I feel like, I think if this was, like, the first spin-off or something like that, like GX or something like that, Yuri would be a really cool character. But we're 5 Yu-Gi-Ohs in, and at this point, he kind of just seemed like such a cardboard cutout of, like, the other psycho crazy villains. He didn't feel that original to me, but he could have. I think he could have had a lot of potential to really show off, like, Yuya likes to make people smile through making them happy. Yuri likes to smile by hurting people. That would have been such an awesome contrast. I think they did that a little bit. I don't think they went all the way with it. And being that they're voiced by the same person, that would have been pretty great, too. But And as I said, I wish Yuri did a little bit more early on. They showed him card the people we liked. I wish they showed that duel. I wish he actually dueled against Yuzu, and then it got, like, interrupted. I wish he did more during the Synchro arc, like, maybe just carding, like, random commons. Like, I wish it didn't take so long to show him actually duel. And when he did, it was just against scrubs, like... I just feel he was underutilized, despite how he's probably, like, the best villain from the whole series, which is kind of sad. It just shows that Arc 5 needed some better villains. But, I mean, Akaba Leo was a terrible villain, and, G. Michael Roger, he was pretty good. He just didn't quite do enough. He just did that one duel. I can't really count Zark because he's a final villain. So, Yuri, I like him, but I just wish they did a lot more with him. He would have been higher on the list if the Predator plants got more attention, but it was always just someone starving Venom just over and over, and it usually led to kind of boring duels. I will admit that Yuri vs. Yuya was a pretty good duel, but besides that, it was just so mad. And he also would have been higher on the list if he didn't have the commercial duel to sell the Ancient Gear structure deck against Asuka. That almost puts him at, like, the bottom of the fucking favorite, like, characters in Arc 5. That, like, killed everything for me, but I gotta move on. Number 13. Another character that will probably be a lot higher on most people's list, but for me, it's just very disappointing. Akaba Reiji. At one point, I think Reiji would be in my top 5 favorite characters list, but he has dropped all the way to 13th place. And again, a big part of this has to do with the card game, with the Reiji structure deck. I was going to have it pulled up, but I believe it's something like, it was released in, like, December of, like, 2015 in Japan, and it was released in January of 2017 for America. So over a freaking year it took to come here. So when Reiji first appeared, I thought that the DDD archetype was really cool. A lot of people were, like, really shocked that he used all 3, like, summoning types. I don't know why people were, I was like, have you ever played the card game? Have you ever been to a tournament? Most people do use Synchros and Xyzs. Typically don't use Fusions unless they have Chimera Tech in their Fusion deck, extra deck, but it's very common for real players to use every option they have and not just kind of box themselves into one, like, summoning types. So to see that Reiji was doing this like real players do, I thought was cool. And to have a whole archetype based around it, especially one that makes fusions viable and not just kind of garbage, like Arc 5 really pushed fusions a lot, I thought it was cool. And then, of course, he has pendulums, too, so that just mixes everything together. So, not to mention, the dark contracts, like, at first I thought it was weird how Reiji had, like, contracts with, like, demons as his archetype. I was like, he doesn't look like an evil demonic worshiper. That makes no sense. But then I realized it does, because he's a very professional player. And any pro player will tell you that, like, if you end the game with, like, more than 100 life points, then that's a resource you wasted. Like, you didn't need to keep that much life. Like, as long as you win, it doesn't matter how many life points you have at the end of the game. So to see that Reiji, like, negotiated, like, paying life to kind of further ahead his advantage in the game, like, to most people that would seem like reckless, like, oh, he's taking a huge gamble here, he's being real dangerous by throwing away his life points for these effects. But he's not. He's calculated. He's smart. He's planning ahead. He knows exactly how many life points he needs to survive attacks and how many life points he can burn away for effects. So I thought that the Dark Contract archetype was really cool. So I was really excited to play DDDs, and by the time they got here, they're no longer exciting. Like, they just had no desire to play DDDs left. And again, we didn't get, I mean, people watching this, can you name off Reiji's Ace Monster? I mean, you can name off Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can name off Red Dragon Archfiend, you can name off Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. For Reiji, that's a lot freaking tougher. It's supposed to be DDD, Armageddon. I don't even know it. Oh my god, I'm horrible. It's the CEO monster. I forgot its English name, though. Okay, I'm fired from the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I can't even remember Reiji's Ace monster. I know what it looks like. I know what it does. But we didn't get that monster until the structure deck. Can you imagine if when Yu-Gi-Oh! First came out, we got the Yu-Gi starter deck and it had Dark Magician, and then we had to wait over a freaking year to get Blue Eyes White Dragon? This game would have never taken off, man. People would have quit Yu-Gi-Oh! They would have been mad that they had no Blue Eyes White Dragon. And yet Reiji's Ace Monster took over a freaking year to come out here. Even longer. It just took forever. Like, so disappointing that we didn't get to play with DDDs. And then, of course, a month after the DDD structure deck came out, we get Link monsters that basically make them unplayable. I know some people comment saying that you can still play with DDDs with Link rules, but it's just different. It's not the same, so I don't even want to hear that. So I feel Konami should give a refund to anyone that bought the Reiji structure deck because of fucking Links being introduced a month later. And enough about the card game. Just in the series, he did not do enough. When he dueled, it was cool, and I kind of like the idea that he sat back and he didn't take action unless he really needed to. Like, he kind of was, like, very careful to not get involved unless it was super important. I kind of get that. It's kind of cool. But he just ended up being so boring. Like, I just wish he did more. It was so lame. Like, the first season, he sits around so much, and then in Synchro Arc, he stands around so much, and he just doesn't do much. Like, it would have been better, like, he fought Barrett, but it would have been nice if he took out, like, 5, like, Obelisk Force people first. During the Synchro Arc, when he goes to the council, it would have been cool if him and Jack Atlas had, like, a duel to prove that Reiji was, like, worth it. And, of course, like, neither one could win, so it'd be a draw, because we didn't want to see, like, either one lose at that point, so maybe there's, like, a time limit or something, but they tie, and, like, Reiji versus Jack at, like, the beginning of, like, the Synchro Arc would have been badass. And then, if he just did something more during the Exceeds or early Fusion Arc, I mean, he started duel more towards the end of the Fusion Arc, but I just wish Reiji did more. I don't even think that he's a good... Now, I know this will be real controversial, and I know a lot of people will disagree with this. I don't think that Reiji's the greatest rival to Yuya. Like, I feel like Shingo's a better rival to Yuya. I feel like Shun could be a better rival to Yuya. I feel that Yuzu could be a better rival to Yuya. Sakaki Yugioh is probably a better rival to Yuya than frickin' Reiji is. Like, I know some people talk about the deep philosophies that separate Reiji and Yuya, and like, so they make really good rivals, but I just didn't feel it. I felt the rivalry was so forced. I just did not feel that connection that I feel Yuya has to different characters, so... Yeah, I wanted to like Reiji, but again, he just disappointed me. Okay. Number 12. Dennis Macfield. Now, I will not lie. When Dennis first was introduced, he was probably in my bottom 3 characters. I hated Dennis. The way that he treated Yuzu just crawled under my skin. I was like, oh man, this guy's a freaking scumbag. Like, I hope he dies. He just disgusted me and made me unhappy. But I softened up, and I started to like him a lot. Big reason why probably the number 1 reason why I like Dennis is his catchphrase. Show must go on. Every time he exceeds summons, I would fucking scream that at the top of my lungs. Because it was so fun to say. And just his English is just fun in general. And, of course, he has the most memorable death scene in probably all of Arc 5. And there's a lot of people that die. But I think most people would agree that he had the most memorable death scene. Let's not forget that he has the most meta cards from the whole series, with Perform Mages being super banned, with Plush Fire being just a broken card. Damage Juggler, too, I think was banned as well. So, he really put Pendulums on the map, and like, he was the first person like, hey, Pendulums are competitive, they're meta. I mean, there was the Quill Force, but it was really Perform Mages that really broke onto the scene. So, and, I'll mention this later, too, but, the second Dennis vs. Shun duel is definitely in my top 5 favorite duels for the whole series. And that was just great. That duel really showed off action duels and riding duels really freaking well. And just the symbolism there of how Trapeze Magician like sacrificed itself to protect Dennis, while Ancient Gear Chaos Giant got in his way and messed him up and caused him to lose, was just so awesome. That, like, the monster that he's truly attached to, like, helped him won. The monster that is a monster and a tool of warfare and destruction was the cause of his downfall. Like, that was so cool. So I went from hating Dennis to Dennis being number 12 on the list, so that's pretty good for Dennis. So I'm glad he moved up. He proved to be a much more interesting character than we all thought he'd be, and just his name, man, that last name, Macfield, man, that just sounds cool when you say it, so he's great. Number 11, Gongenzaka Noboru, the man. So I thought that Gongenzaka would be written off as a nobody background friend character pretty early on. Luckily, that did not happen until way later. He stayed pretty relevant for most of the series, which was good. I thought he was a good best friend to Yuya, really strong and determined. Of course, the thing that makes me like him the most is that my real-life deck is I make a bajillion decks, but my main deck is a Gallus the Star Beast, Berserker Soul, Monster Mash kind of deck, which runs like 35-plus monsters. I run I think currently I'm down to like 2 spells, 0 traps, and like 8 monsters. So the fact that he uses a all-monster deck with no spell or traps is really cool. And of course it's funny because back in the day and like when the series first began, like that would be a terrible thing to do. Like you would never want to do that. But of course nowadays monsters have so many effects that they kind of take the place of spell and traps that you no longer need spell and traps because you could just have monsters that do the same exact effects and they all special summon themselves, so there's no limit to how much you can activate them. Or their hand traps too, so I think from a game design perspective, it's sad to see spell and traps becoming less and less important to the game. But it's still a big challenge to make a deck that's like all monsters and no spell and traps. So the fact that Gongenzaka does that is really cool and gives him a unique dueling style. And then, of course, his monsters are all defense mode monsters. His monsters can attack while they're in defense mode, and they use their defense to deal damage. Which, again, is just another aspect of what makes his dueling so cool and unique. So I really like that Gongenzaka has a cool, unique style that I can relate to. He's a very loyal, strong friend. I like that he has a more borrow look. Yugioh has a lot of like very pretty boy Shonen characters. I like that Gongenzaka kind of has a real masculine look for people to relate to, because I think a lot of people that play Yu-Gi-Oh, like, they might have a hard time relating to them more like pretty boys, and they kind of feel more like grungy and more like Gongenzaka-ish, where they're like a little more, they could kind of be chunky on the outside, but they're kind of strong on the inside. I don't know if any of that makes sense. Point is that Gongenzaka is the man. He has some awesome theme music, so he is number 11 on this list because he deserves that respect. Number 10. Sakaki Yuya. Yep, that's right. The main character of the series, 10th favorite character. I have a real love-hate relationship with Yuya. Like Yuri, I feel he had a lot of good potential that just wasn't capitalized on. Now, I do like the concept of him. I like the concept of the entertainer that is trying to bring smiles to people's faces. I like that he had a lot of sadness and sorrow deep down inside that he tried to bury and kind of hide away with smiles instead of like laughing it off. I think he's a pretty interesting, tormented character. I think he has a lot of good flaws. I like that he was trying to make his father proud and like emulate his father's dueling style, but it wasn't working for him and he couldn't quite just be his father. He had to find his own kind of unique path to be. I think there's a lot of good stories to be told with Yuya. I feel they did not tell those stories as well as they could have. I know a lot of people will disagree with me. There's a lot of Yuya fans out there, and I do. And of course, as with anything on this list, you're free to disagree. And if you like Yuya for how he is, that's cool. I know a lot of people can relate strongly to Yuya. And the thing is, I want to relate to Yuya. Like, there are times that I have related to Yuya. There's been times, like, for example, I remember there was a few times when I was really depressed, and I had to stream Arc 5, as, like, I was really depressed, like, a few minutes beforehand. I was like, okay, you can't be depressed. You gotta show Yu-Gi-Oh! For people to make them happy, so be like Yuya and just smile to hide your tears so that nobody sees your tears, and just, like, make people happy by showing them, like, by streaming Arc 5. And, like, I really related to Yuya there. I really felt for Yuya. I felt very inspired by him. That whole, like, hey, cry later, like, make people happy now kind of mentality. That was cool. But I just feel they could have done a little bit of a better job with him. I feel the writing with him was kind of all over the place. I kind of feel like one writer wanted to write him like this, and the other writers like wanted to write him like that. And it just did not feel as tight or consistent as some previous main characters have been. I feel he was a little all over the place, and maybe for some people, they see the web of why he went from like over here to over there to over here, and like maybe that makes sense for them as a character, but to me it just kind of seemed disjointed, like he was a couple of different characters in one, which is funny because, you know, the multiple personalities that live inside him towards him, but, you know. A lot of people hate Yugioh. I do not hate Yugioh. Again, I like the concept of it. I like the concept of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series where it's about having fun and smiling, and that's the important part of dueling. Again, though, the fucking execution of it could have been so much better. And I'm not even talking about, like, the brainwashing people through Yugioh like we see during the Xyz arc. Like, I can suspend some disbelief, although that's a little tough. My biggest problem with Yugioh, and this is what could have fixed it completely. They just did this one little thing, which I cannot believe they didn't do this at all throughout the entire series. As far as I know, there was not one duel where it was okay if Yuya lost, as long as both players smiled. It was always, you have to win, Yuya. You have to win no matter what. The whole dimensional war relies on everything. If you lose, we're all gonna fucking die. Even after Zark is defeated, and we're just trying to make a goddamn baby smile. His dad is like, Yuya, you gotta win. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? What the hell? Like, it would have been great if, like, he lost to Shun, but Shun smiled, and he's like, oh, okay, you know what? I don't need to go try to kill Akaba Leo. That was a fun duel. Like, thanks for changing my mind. Like, that would have been cool. I don't think that Yuya should have faced Jack Atlas. I think he should have faced Jean Michael Roger as the second to last duel. I cannot fucking believe he faced Jack Atlas as the second to last. This is coming from someone who's Jack Atlas is their absolute favorite character in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I didn't want him to face Jack for that duel. If he faced Jean Michael Roger, and Roger was like, look at me, I'm gonna come back and take power and be all evil and oppress all the people, and like Yuya made him smile during the duel, like that would have been like awesome. Again, I mean, even if he had like a duel against Reiji, where like if he made Reiji smile, but he still lost to Reiji, it would still be counted as a win. I just wanted that. I wanted this like Yuya to lose a duel, but still win the war because he made someone smile. And that never happened. It was always, you have to win no matter what. Which to me just contradicts the whole dueling is about smiling and having fun. Because, I mean, I would have liked the message to be like, win or lose, as long as you smile, it's okay. The message we got was, hey, make people smile, but make sure you win as well. Like, don't lose. I was like, what the fuck was that? I do like Yuya overall. He's not my favorite protagonist by a long shot, but I mean, he's not my least favorite either. And I do relate to him in some points. I just wish the rating was a little bit different for him, but I know a lot of people do like him, so, well, that's good. We're going to move on. Number 9. This is another character who did not get very much screen time, and yet they're very high on this list, because this character at one point in time was my number 1 favorite Arc 5 character. That person is Kotsu Masumi. If you remember, she is the fusion user of the LDS trio. She was made to sell Gem Knights, because the Raging Master booster pack was reprinting a bunch of the dual terminal cards that were hard to get in Japan, so she was the Gem Knight user. A lot of people don't really get this, but to me, the LDS trio, they were like the first cameos that Arc 5 had. Like, before Jack, before Crow, to see Gem Knights and X-Sabers and Constellars in an anime when they already have their own storyline, that was weird. That was like the really first cameos. I was like, shouldn't the X-Sabers be dead by now? And are the Gem Knights going to Xyz to stop Vylon to Sigma? And how are the Constellars here when the Gem Knights are there fighting the Vers? I was like, oh my god, it was so like just plucking it straight from the timeline. There's probably a bunch of people that have no idea what the hell I'm talking about right now. But yeah, so that was really weird, but they played it off real well. I've always liked Gem Knights since they first came out, so I was happy they got more support. But on her character herself, she was the only one in the LDS trio to actually win her duel. So this cemented her as a strong female duelist, which we don't get a lot of those in Yu-Gi-Oh. We get a lot of characters that are said to be strong female duelists, and then they just are not. They're like, we're told that they're strong female duelists, but we're not shown that they're strong female duelists. We were shown that Masumi was a badass fucking chick. She was very confident, a little bit cocky, but not too much. Like, she still kind of measured her opponents and knew how good they were. It is a strong belief of mine that Masumi, Yaiba, and Hokuto were all supposed to be carded by Shun when they had that 3-on-1 duel. But because they were so popular, they decided to keep them around for a little bit longer. Hokuto got carded a little bit later, and Yaiba got beat up, but I think Masumi was probably the most popular of the three, so they made sure they gave her a good rematch with Yuzu. But I really think those characters were supposed to expire early, because they were literally just a walking commercial. They were the first version we got of the Ancient Gear structure deck long before that monstrosity happened. Like, they were only there to promote cards that had no business being in an anime, because again, they were just cameos from another storyline. But, yeah, just Masumi's relationship with Yuzu, the way they're rivals, and then she kind of goes to respect her, and then she gives her the card, and Yuzu wins a duel with that card. Oh, God, like, I just love Masumi so much. I know she did not get much screen time. I know she was written off the show. I really do wish there was the Lancer B team, where, like, at some point in time, while they're off traveling dimensions, Academia invades Standard Dimension, and then the LDS trio would have been Kashidoki, but he turned evil. Oh my God, who am I missing? God, I cannot believe I'm forgetting his name. God's gonna kill me. Yuya's mom as well, Mieru, all of them, if they were like the Lancer B team and they kind of fought off Standard, that would have been great, but we didn't get that, of course. Alright, moving on. Number 8. Yugo. Yugo is the top of the Dragon Boys. Sorry, Yuto, you just didn't do enough. I like Yugo a lot. I think he was, I liked his ability to kind of be, like, quick to act, kind of impulsive, kind of runs into things a lot. He was just cool. I just think he was the Dragon Boy that had the most personality. He had a lot of flaws, but he was funny, he was adorable, he was lovable. He was very fucking determined to save Ren. Obviously, Yuto wanted to save Yuri, but, you know, he kind of got sidetracked, going all googly eyes for Yuzu. Yuya was trying to save Yuzu when she was getting kidnapped later. Of course, Yuri is not applicable, but Yugo was trying really hard to fucking save Ren. Like, I think his determination to save Ren was just the strongest out of the 3 Dragon Boys. Again, Yuzu was captured way later, so it's hard to compare. And I'm sure that Yuto wanted to save Yuri, but, like, Yugo's determination to the point that he just misheard people fucking saying his name and caused fucking conflicts, like, it was just amazing. Speedroids became a very, very popular archetype in the card game that a lot of people I know play. I know a lot of people that play Speedroids, so they're a lot of fun. Yeah, I really just have good things to say about Yugo. His rivalry with Yuri was one of the most intense ones throughout the whole series. Since practically episode 1, he was chasing him. Originally, they were going to have Yugo and Yuto in episode 1, but they decided to cut that and push it back to later episodes. But originally, it was planned to have them in episode 1. So, from beginning to end, it was going to be Yugo mishearing people saying his name as he tries to chase Yuri. So, I just love Yugo a lot. He's really great. Number 7, Serena. I just suddenly forgot what I want to say about her. She's a really cool character. She made fusions really badass. The Luna Lights are a pretty cool fusion archetype that can kind of make use of a lot of stuff. Her cards were really broken. She was just strong. She was tough. I feel like a lot of people have Serena higher on their list. She's number 7 for me, so that's pretty good. But I mean, I don't think she did a whole lot. I think she was just there. She was cool, and then she was gone. And, like, I wish we got a little bit more from her. Like, we got a decent amount, but I think I just kind of craved a little bit more from her. Like, I should have more good things to say about her being number 7, but I like her. I wanted more of her. That's really all I have to say. I mean, she was a cool, tough chick. I wish she got to show it a little bit more, but I mean, I think she showed it a decent amount. So yeah, more Serena would have been nice, but I'm pretty happy with what we got. So she is number 7. Number 6, Tsukikage. Tsukikage is the minor character that dreamed of being a main character, and he actually got his goal. When Tsukikage and Hiiragi were first introduced, we all thought they were nobody characters that were going to get carted off in no time and just were not important to the plot. And he turned out to be really freaking important. His brother dies, and then we feel for him. We're like, he needs to get some vengeance. It was great. And then what happens when he meets Sora? They come to a truce! Like, how the fuck do you do that? This motherfucker killed his brother! And he's like, okay, let's fight together. Like, I don't forgive you, but we'll deal with that later, because there's more important shit to do. He was just so honor-bound. Like, he believed in Akaba Reiji more than I think anyone should have. But, like, he trusted him, and, like, he's like, yeah, I wouldn't, like, follow him unless I really, like, believed in what he was doing. And, like, he was a ninja that had honor and just faith in his client. And again, his brother died, and he wasn't happy about it, but he showed, like, no remorse, like, it was just all business for him. Like, he knew that being a ninja, that this is what him and his brother might face one day. They might face death. Like, that's part of the business. And they just went on. He's also one of the few real main characters that had no extra deck summon. No Xyz, no Synchro, no Fusion. He does get Pendulums eventually, but he mostly just straight up, like, Tribute summoned. He didn't duel that much, but his duel record is actually really impressive. He won a lot of his duels. And, like, a lot of times he did face, like, nameless people, but, like, nameless people that were kicking ass and, like, defeating people left and right. So, like, not like weak nameless people, like the stronger kind of nameless people. He lost to Shinji on purpose so that he could infiltrate the underground. So, I mean, that doesn't even count. We saw that he could have been able to win. He beat Michael Roger, but then he lost to him because of BS shenanigans. And then one of the writers decided to do some drugs and killed Tsukikage off screen, which I nearly flipped a frickin' table when that happened. That was the worst death in all of Arc 5. That was so horrible. That was just very depressing. I cannot believe they killed him off screen. And he was acting out of character during that episode too. Like, they kind of hinted at it. Like, he walked right into a trap and he's like, oh, what am I doing? This is not like me. And then later, they just show him die off screen. How do you do that when before this he was an awesome dude? He was OTKing people, man. He was showing how dumb action dueling is because he was abusing the action dueling system to just discard a bunch of spell cards and win first turn before his opponent got to go. Which, if action dueling was a real thing, every single Yu-Gi-Oh player would do that. Nobody would ever get a turn 2. And I love that they show Tsukikage do that. I love that they show that Tsukikage is a meta player that really knows what he's doing and abusing the system because he has the skill and talent to do so. Speaking of skill and talent, he ran off his dual runner to grab an action card like during the riding duel. Are you freaking kidding me? Tsukikage is so awesome! Dude, when he came back to life, I was so happy. I mean, if Tsukikage faced Zark, I think Zark might have lost. Like, let's be real here. Tsukikage was badass, and again, did not use the extra deck summoning, which is like how Zark gets all pumped up and powered up. I'm pretty sure they carded Tsukikage off screen because they knew that Tsukikage would defeat Zark by himself. Like, yeah, I wish post-canon we got to see more of Tsukikage and Hiiragi, like, after we get to the Pendulum Dimension. I wish that Hiiragi had more action. I wish that we got to see Tsukikage and Hiiragi kind of bonding. I wish we got more backstory about Tsukikage, but even with so little backstory, like, he was just so badass. So loyal to Reira, too. Like, oh my god, I love Tsukikage. Yeah, he's number 6 on this list. Okay, I almost feel like he should be higher, like, after that rant, but we'll see. Let's go through the top 5. Number 5, Akaba Reira. Before I talk about this character, first and foremost, I'm going to let you know that I'm going to use male pronouns to refer to this character. Don't start a flaming comment war in the comments. Okay, so Reira was number 3 on my list originally. I had to bump him down to 5. A big reason why is I really like the CCC archetype. I think it's really cool. I think it's cool how it copies the opponent's monsters, how it uses like different attributes. He has like a sword for fusions, a gun for synchros, and armor for Xyz. I really wish the gun was Xyz, because I always use the metaphor that Xyz monsters are like guns and their materials are like the bullets, but still, whatever. It was really cool. I like his cards. I wish he dueled a lot more. What makes me really mad is they will never release his cards. They will never make his cards real, and that is super disappointing, because I think his archetype is super awesome. I wish he got a few more duels in, but when he did duel, he was just really cool. He was really amazing. He also got bumped down to number 5, because he had some decent screen time, but I wish he got a little bit more screen time. I think if he had a little bit more screen time and his cards were made real, he could have kept the number 3 spot, but I had to push him down below a few people. But I do think Reira is a very, very interesting character. I think one of the most interesting characters we've had in Yu-Gi-Oh! In quite a while, despite those setbacks. He's definitely the coolest younger brother character. Mokuba is not very interesting. I did not like the twins from 5D, so that counts as like children characters. Haruto is pretty cool. I liked him a whole lot. Before Arc 5, Haruto was my favorite like younger brother character, but Reira is even cooler than that. He is like war traumatic PTSD. He was trained to be used as a weapon. That brainwashing was freaking brutal and dark. As a side note, I don't like that Reiji's mom, Himika, sorry. I don't like how at the end of the series she's like, oh, I can't believe that I used Reira as a weapon. I was so wrong. I thought they redeemed her way too fast. Like, I wanted her to be like an actual villain. Like, I thought she'd pop up at like the end of the Fusion arc and like be the real villain, not like Akaba Leo. Like, it was actually like Himika the whole time that was the real villain, and Leo was like the good guy. That would have been a lot cooler. Instead, she's like, oh, I made a mistake by making Reira a human weapon. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? But back to Reira himself. I like that he was the vessel for Rei. I think maybe not top 5, but probably top 10 favorite duels is Reira versus Reiji. I thought that was really cool, the way that he rebelled against him. I thought their duel was just had a lot of cool moments, and like it really looked like Reira like outsmarted Reiji, but Reiji's like, you can't outsmart me. Like, I know what I'm doing. I almost wanted Reira to beat Reiji. That would have been kind of cool, to be honest. But that was good. I don't think we've. I mean, in the manga we had Haruto versus Kaido, which was a interesting duel. And of course we had the Marufuji brothers duel in GX, but I feel that's a little bit different because Sho was kind of a main character. Mokuba never dueled Seto, so you know, and yeah, I think it was just really cool to see Reira rebel against Reiji. When Reira faced Ayu, that was good. When Reira refused to duel during the Synchro arc because he liked Shinji, I thought that was really like touching and just thing. Oh, let's not forget that Reira took on, like, Obelisk Force members as he's going through PTSD hell. Like, that was just freaking awesome. I wish Reira got a little bit more screen time. Maybe then they could have made his cards real. I do feel that if his cards were made real, they would take up too much extra deck space, because you would need like 18 monsters, because you would need 6 fusions, 6 Xyz, 6 synchros for each of the attributes. But I'm sure they could find some way around that to kind of simplify some of them. But God, I love his archetype. I think it's so cool how his archetype is all about copying things, because he has no emotions of himself, so he needs to copy other people's cards because his soul is supposed to be empty and blank, so he only copies his opponent's like cards because he has no personality to kind of create his own deck with. And it's just, he's such a chilling, kind of disturbing, scary character that still has a heart of gold beneath it all that you just want to love and give him a huge hug and like tell him it's all going to be okay and protect him from the fucking world. Oh my god, Reira's a great character. Okay, let's move on. Number 4. One of the most popular characters in the entire fandom. Kurosaki Shun. Now, when Shun first came on the scene, he was very popular. I think to this day, he's probably in like the top 3 most popular characters. Shun is beloved by the fandom. I did not like Shun very much. I didn't dislike him. I just thought he was okay. I thought we've seen a lot of this character that wants to avenge their sibling and is kind of edgy and like doesn't take shit and is kind of very like anti-hero-ish. So we've seen this a lot from Yugioh with Shark and kind of Rio from GX and just a lot of 5D's characters too, I guess, a little bit. I mean, they weren't avenging their siblings. But point is, I felt like I've seen with the edgy Avenger, I feel like I had seen that a lot. So I felt Shun was just very unoriginal, just kind of filling the mold. Like, we've seen this character before. He's nothing special. Slowly over time, I'm like, okay, I mean, he's just filling the mold, but he's doing a good job of filling that mold. Like, he's pretty cool with it, and the memes of him falling down the stairs, the memes of him in shorts during that one ending, they were funny, so I was warming up to Shun quite a bit. What really broke it, and I kind of already mentioned this, is Shun vs. Dennis, the second time. When he summoned Raid Raptor, Satellite Cannon Falcon, oh god, it was over. I was like, Shun is so freaking cool. Like, that scene, it did not matter how much he was just following the script, following the mold, walking in the same footsteps of the characters that walked before him. He was stomping through those footsteps. He just turned it all up to 11. Like, he, went from a stereotype to, a super type, man. That probably makes no sense, but still, he just got so badass and cool in that one scene. And then the next duel, that bro fist with Crow, oh, that was great. Let's not forget that Kurosaki Shun has probably physically beat up more people than anyone in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! This mofo is Batman. He will beat up anyone with his bare fists and kicks. He's just awesome. I wanted to not like Shun because everyone else liked him. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be like everyone else. But I gave in because he really is that fucking cool. And he is that great of a character. Towards the end of the series, he was starting to just run out of, rope. His candle was just kind of burnt out. The writers didn't really know what to do with him anymore. So they just let him sleep on the floor for 20 episodes. But, I mean, I think he had a pretty good run. He definitely had those little dips in his character where, they just didn't know what to do with it because they gave him so many cool fucking scenes that they had no more scenes left to give him. So they're just like, oh, well, just put Shun on the floor. He's sleeping. So, and of course, the ending where his sister's gone forever, but he has learned to accept that and move on and be okay with that. And Yuto, his best friend, is gone forever. It's just so fucking painful. I get the people that like that ending and they think that's character growth for Shun, but I completely understand everyone else that's like, that's the worst ending ever. How could you do that to Shun? You just ruined his life. And everyone else, like I said before, I've said this before, that Serena, Yuri, no one's going to really miss them. Rin and Yugo, the only people going to miss them are each other. But, Yuto and Yuri are really missed by Shun. So, the rest of them not coming back was okay, but Yuri and Yuto not coming back, that's just devastating for Shun. Okay, enough talking about the ending. Shun's great. He's number 4. I'm moving on. Number 3. Shiunin Sora. So Sora is just an awesome character. I really like him a lot. I always tell the story about when he was first shown. I really wish that he was a girl, and I was really mad that he wasn't a girl because I'm like, we can use more female characters. But now I totally don't want him to be a girl. I love that he's a very not masculine boy, but he still has a very fierce, fightery side to him. I like that he can show that you can be really powerful and not need to, look masculine. I know that sounds kind of stupid and stuff, but I just know that's a pretty good message. That, he likes candy, he has a childish appearance, he's a bit shorter than the rest of the characters. Keep in mind, he is the same age as Shun. I know that Shun looks older, and that Sora looks younger, but they are the same age according to the tournament bracket they were in. So, again, people are tall, people are short. So I like that Sora has this look where he's not threatening, where he's very cute and sweet. But when he duels people, he can kick their ass, man. He doesn't hold back. He's a freaking soldier. And like a super elite badass soldier. I love that kind of deceiving appearance he has. I do slightly wish that his turn to the good side was a little more pronounced. When he came back during the Synchro arc, I know there was a lot of tension, like, will he be a good guy? Will he be a bad guy? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. I decided to join you, Yuya. It was a little bit too quick of a turn, but still, I just like his character a lot. I think he just gave a whole lot to the show. I think he was a pretty unique character. He made fusions look pretty cool, which is hard to do, because fusions are a lot of card disadvantage, and they're just inherently weaker than Synchros and Xyzs by the logic of the game, but he made them pretty cool. Yeah, I just like Sora a whole lot, so he's number 3. Number 2, Sawatari Shingo. Shingo is just awesome. Like, oh, God, I love Shingo. He is just the most adorable loser. If you hate Shingo, I don't blame you, because he is a jackass towards the beginning of the series, and towards the end, he's still kind of a jackass. So I don't blame you if you hate Shingo, but I just find him to be a lovable jackass. Again, he is one of the most meta players in the whole series. I do wish they made his dart shooters, despite how they're terrible cards and they're not that good. But then he played Monarchs. Monarchs are very popular. Then he played the Yosenjus, and most people wanted him to keep the Yosenjus because they were very competitive and very powerful. But when they finally got around to releasing the Abyss actors, I think the people liked them quite a bit. I almost made a Abyss actor deck, but then Link got it announced like the day that I was going to buy the card. So I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not going to make that deck now. But I think Abyss actors are really cool. I think they have a lot of cool effects. I think they really show off like what pendulums can do. And again, if not them, then Yosenjus are freaking cool. They did a lot of powerful stuff. And Monarchs are just a fan favorite of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. And just Shingo himself, I think, I kind of mentioned it offhand, I think Shingo could have been such a better rival than Reiji was to Yuya. I kind of see Shingo more as like the best friend character. Gongenzaka takes that role up quite a bit, but Shingo is a entertainment duelist like Yuya, and he's more self-centered than Yuya. But I think a little bit of that is that's okay, because I think Yuya spends a lot of time looking outwards, trying to make the crowd happy, which Shingo does too. But he wants to make himself happy too, and I feel that Yuya can learn a lot from that. And I just feel when Yuya was kind of struggling with his entertainment dueling, I feel that Shingo could have helped him out a little bit more. So I wish they used him a little bit more that way. But he's just still just great comic relief character. I feel bad for him that he loses all the time. I was just waiting for him to have that one surprise victory that no one expected. But he had like never won the entire freaking time. If he faced Yuri and won, that would have been awesome. I think that would have just been so funny. If like Yuri cards all these people, is super badass, and then Shingo steps up and defeats him. That would have been so freaking great. Who he actually should have defeated is Zark, because again, he has no Fusion Xyz Synchro monsters, so he's had an advantage for Zark. His monsters can reduce the attack of the opponent's monsters and increase their own attack. So again, that works well against Zark, and because they're not Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz, Zark's not immune to it, so Shingo should have beat Zark, is what I'm trying to say. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, in the series, a big reason why he was at a disadvantage is because of all the people that came before him used those extra deck monsters, and Zark used that to his advantage. But, yeah, I would have liked to see Shingo actually get a real win in during the series, but I still just love Shingo. I think he was a great, he really brought the smiles and the funny to Arc 5, which Yuya was supposed to do a lot of himself, but Yuya had a lot of drama. And Shingo smiled through some of the worst times. I love how he finally did break down during the Fusion arc, which that took a lot for him to finally break down, because usually he's just oblivious and just thinking about himself when shit's depressed, but he finally did break down, so that was pretty cool. But even during that time, he was played off as a coward early on, but actually, he was pretty ballsy throughout the whole series. Like, his ego helped him out. Like, in the Synchro arc, he was losing and getting arrested, and he still went with Serena to go find the people that they were looking to find Yuzu. Like Shingo's brave and ballsy because he has so much self-confidence in himself. Self-confidence he probably shouldn't have, But he has it still, and it's just awesome. So yeah, I love Shingo. I wish he got a little bit more respect during the series. I wish he dueled a little bit more, which I guess I kind of say that about everyone. I wish they gave him a real win, but oh well, they couldn't do that. The number one favorite character of Arc 5, Hiiragi Yuzu. Hell yeah. Now, I know what all of you were probably saying, the Voices of Chaos, they made her useless towards the end of the series. I don't care. She was so amazing for the first half of the series that it made up for. She is just the most awesome, greatest female character I feel we've ever had in Yugioh, and Aki Season 1 of 5D set the bar pretty high. So if you like Aki more than Yuzu, I don't blame you, because Aki's really awesome too, but I just think Yuzu just pulled through a little bit more and just had a little more depth to her character that just really made her great. So let's go over what makes Yuzu so great. So early on, she defeats Yuya in a duel, which has never happened before, that the main character loses to the main female. Yeah, she gets kidnapped, so she's not invincible. But what happens after she gets kidnapped? She goes and chases Shingo down, and she's like, "Let's have a rematch. I'm here to kick your ass because you hurt Yuya." Sadly, Yuto had to pop up, but even when he did, she was really forceful with it. She was still going to face Shingo. She's like, "Hey, let's have a 2-on-1 duel." But Yuto needed his screen time, so he couldn't do that. But Yuzu really fought to stand up for Yuya and fight Shingo, who messed with her before. That was awesome. So then we get to her defending her school. This is where she goes through her really stupid arc, where she thinks that Yuto is Yuya, and Yuya is Yuto, and to the audience it seemed really dumb, because I think early on they were not drawing Yuto's face as much like Yuya's as they did later in the series, so it was kind of hard to see. But I mean, she wanted to believe her friend, and there was some evidence against it, so she was kind of tripping a bit and acted kind of dumb, but she has her flaws. She's not a perfect character. And I think that was great that we kind of saw a little bit of her weakness. It was kind of a stupid weakness that maybe we can't really relate to, but it was still good to show that weakness and then kind of show her regain her trust in Yuya. But that caused her to lose to Masumi. So what did she do? She goes and learns to fusion summon from Sora. Like, talk about taking resources. Like, she just met Sora. I mean, I guess they trusted him, but still, they were still getting to know him. And she goes and she's like, "Hey, make me stronger." Like, that's usually what the main male character does. Here we go, the female is like, I want to learn to fusion summon. And she takes painfully long to do it, but she does it. Unlike Yuya, that learns it in like 2 seconds, which was dumb. So we get Yuzu learning to fusion summon, which is awesome. Fast forward more to am I skipping that part? Yeah, to the Yuzu vs. Masumi duel. That is the second Yuzu vs. Masumi duel is definitely in my top 5 favorite Arc 5 duels. Just awesome. One of the few duels that really shows action cards being used in like a really well-written way. It's just so great. And then she saves Masumi at the end, and Masumi blushes. It was just, oh god, it's a great duel. Fast forward some more to the second round of the Miami Championship. This is what pushed Yuzu over the edge of favorite character past Masumi for me early on. She has a tag team duel with Gongenzaka Noboru against the Ice Girl and the Aladdin character. And for the first time ever in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, the male character is the support character, and the female character is the more offensive, direct-like duelist. We have never seen this role reversal before. And in addition to that, for the first time ever, the male character loses their half of the tag duel, leaving Yuzu 2-on-1 to face her opponents because her male partner lost. And we're like, okay, well, she's done. She fusion summons, defeats an opponent, and then uses defusion to defeat the other opponent. I was like, yes! Yes! This is so cool! It was such a good duelist! It was so amazing! It was so... Oh my god! Oh my god, that was so cool. That's so amazing. I got so happy when that happened. Fast forward a little bit. She versus Dennis, which, as I said, I hated Dennis at the time. And she loses! She was on such a good winning streak, and she loses to Dennis. I think she faced someone before Dennis. Am I forgetting the duel she had before Dennis? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But she loses to Dennis. So it shows that she's not perfect. And why did she lose to Dennis? Because she was starting to rely too much on her fusion summoning. And because she was relying too much on her fusion summoning and not kind of covering her ass, she walked into a bad trap that made her lose to Dennis. But that's okay. Again, she's not perfect. She doesn't have a perfect winning record, and that's okay. Oh yeah, she faced that one duelist too, which she won by using Crystal Rose that was given to her by Masumi. So it shows that the bonds of her friendships, cough lovers, helps her win duels, which was just really good. And again, just more shonen protagonist kind of stuff. Really amazing. She fights Yuri, which the entire Arc 5 series is like, Yuri's really cool, Yuri's badass. She holds her own. We don't see the duel. Yuri has his purple and Kaiser Dragon thing, so we don't know what happened during the duel, but she holds her own. She does some crazy backflips. It was so amazing. Oh yeah, she switches clothes with Serena, is all buddy-buddy with Serena too, so that was really awesome that she wanted to protect Serena from academia. But okay. She gets taken to Synchro Dimension because her bracelet has weird plot powers that are never explained. I'll get to the biggest disappointment of Yuzu in a moment. But, so we go to the Friendship Cup. When they announced that it would be Yuzu versus the Enjoy guy, Chokomatsu, I think his name is. I might be butchering that. I don't remember. I was like, this is going to be a boring duel. I have a friend that likes Enjoy a whole lot, but I don't care about Enjoy one bit. It's like, this is going to be a lame duel. And I like that duel. That duel was great because it really showed Yuzu as an entertainment duelist. Like, it really revived her as, like, that was one of the best duels in the entire series for showcasing entertainment duelists. And you heard me say before, where like, I wish they did more with like the win-lose thing. Like like she was winning, and like she didn't need to like do stupid moves to be entertaining. Like she was playing smart and being entertaining and making the crowd smile and be happy, and was just acting super cute while like doing real good meta moves that were making her win. And God, she like at that point, again, like Yuzu was on a higher pedestal than Yuya. Like for most of the series, Yuya is chasing after Yuzu to become as good as a entertainment duelist as Yuzu, which we've never seen this in Yu-Gi-Oh before. It's always the female character is kind of off to the side and not as strong as the male and needs to be protected by the male. I mean, Aki breaks the mold a little bit, but not even completely there. And like, I mean, it's okay for the female character to be vulnerable, but like, here the standard is that Yuzu was a better duelist than Yuya. That Yuya looked up to Yuzu. Yuya idolized Yuzu. And during her duel against Enjoy, we see why, because she's a good entertainment duelist. It's just so... Oh my god, I might have a heart attack as I just think about how adorable Yuzu is during that duel. Alright, let's flash forward to when things get dark. Then she faces Sergei. Sadly, she loses this duel. But again, why did she lose this duel? Because she actually cared about her opponent and was worried about him and didn't want him to get hurt. If she was a cold, ruthless, heartless bitch, she might have just been like, let him die, I'm going to win this duel. But she's not like that. And that's a good weakness to have, that she was caring. And because she was caring and considerate, she couldn't win the duel. I think that's a great weakness for her. Like, again, she's not perfect. She doesn't win every duel. And this duel she lost because she didn't want her opponent to be in pain and suffering. That's just a great character trait. Sadly, after that duel, she gets thrown through a building, and I believe she suffered brain damage and became a victim of the also common damsel in distress syndrome that demoted her down to a secondary character that had to be rescued all of the time. This was very depressing, but, I mean, you know, if Yuzu would have just died right there, it might have been better for her character, because up until that point, Yuzu is amazing. Sadly, the rest of the series, not so much. She gets saved towards the end. People complain about how much she screams Yuya's name, but to be fair, I mean, she was getting kidnapped by some scary mofos a lot of the time, or falling from, like, high platforms. Like, you'd scream someone's name, too, like, if it was that dire, like... So, sadly, she was kind of forced to scream that a lot. Sadly, she couldn't face the Obelisk Force people when she first got to Fusion Dimension, because we had to show off Asuka being cool. Sadly, Serena kidnaps her, like, out of nowhere. Just so random. Yeah. So the biggest disappointment I have with Yuzu, which is one of my biggest disappointments with the whole series, is that she never learned Synchro Summoning or Exceed Summoning, which it seems like they really were setting that up. They spent so much time showing her learning Fusion Summoning that it makes no sense that she only learned Fusion Summoning and not the summoning of the rest of her counterparts. I'm pretty sure the writers that made her learn Fusion Summoning were really dedicated to those scenes. I'm pretty sure they wanted her to learn Synchro and Exceed Summoning later in the show, but there's probably a disagreement among the writers, and they decided not to have her do that. It would have worked, too, because Yugo could have taught her to Synchro Summon before the Friendship Cup while they were in the Synchro Dimension, and that would have been great. She could have learned Exceed Summoning later at some point down the line. It would have been great to see her and Yuya both learning the extra deck archetypes as the show went on. Yuzu could have stayed on as the secondary main character, the Dutagonist, I think it's called, really well. But I think there was a disagreement among the writing, among the directing, and I think they just kind of had to push Yuzu down to not being the number 2 character of the show. Sometimes she seems like the number 1 character, more so than Yuya. Arc 5 has a whole lot of characters, so it's understandable that they had to push her down a little bit to make room for some of the other great popular characters like Shun and Sora and everyone else, but I still think that Hiiragi Yuzu is an amazing character. I think she has so many awesome personality traits. She has very believable weaknesses and flaws that I just admire the hell out of her so much, as you have heard me say. So that is why she is my number 1 favorite character. Despite how she wasn't treated well towards the end, I think that for the majority of the series, she was just absolutely amazing and just such a good reason to watch Arc 5. So, that is my list of the top 15, my top 15 favorite Arc 5 characters. I look forward to Yugioh Vrains, and I will be streaming that, so that should be coming very soon. So we'll need to see which characters we like from that as we say goodbye to Arc 5. It was a good wild ride. I very much enjoyed streaming Arc 5. I enjoyed interacting with the fandom. And speaking of interacting with the fandom, I have a Discord chat channel that you can join, and we can talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! All the time. So please feel free to join my Discord chat, and we can have more crazy fun conversations like this. Thank you for watching this video.